The sky above the small town shimmered as though painted with fire. Aurora-like streaks danced over the horizon, green and violet threads twisting in impossible patterns. Streetlights flickered, car alarms tripped, and every screen from smartphones. 2 traffic monitors blinked in unison. For most, it was a glitch, a brief cosmic anomaly. For the few who noticed, a deep, uncanny hum filled the air, vibrating through bones, rattling windows, deep underground, in a labyrinth of abandoned subway. Tunnels retrofitted into a secret laboratory. Dr. Mara Elridge froze mid-sentence. Her hand hovered over a console as the hum intensified. Screens across the lab lit up with readings she hadn't expected, power levels far beyond human comprehension. Machines designed to map geothermal currents began pulsing in rhythm with the hum, revealing faint, undulating energy veins, stretching like veins through the earth itself. "What is happening?" whispered her assistant, eyes wide, staring at a monitor displaying a spiral of energy spreading across continents. Mara didn't answer. She already knew. Somehow, something beneath the planet had awoken and humans had unknowingly triggered it. Far above Earth, across the cold void of space, alien sensors screamed in alert. The pulse radiated like a beacon, precise, strong, and strangely intelligent. Galaxies away, commanders of the Cytherian collective leaned forward in their command pods, their translucent fingers brushing over holographic displays, a signal from a minor world. One said, voice tight with impatience, "It's faint, but coherent. Could be a call for power, or a call for surrender," countered another. Their collective mind assumed weakness, a primitive species reaching out in desperation. Yet even they could not ignore the underlying precision, the pattern, the resonance. It was not random. It was deliberate. Within hours, the Cytherian fleet began accelerating toward Earth. Ships the size of mountains reflected distant starlight, casting faint shadows across the void. To them, this was an easy conquest, a weak, unprepared species crying out for aid. They had no idea what awaited them. Back on Earth, Mara's team scrambled. The hum grew louder, the lights brighter, almost rhythmic. Instruments recorded anomalies in gravity, electromagnetic fields, and thermal energy, all moving in sync with the pulse. It wasn't just a power surge, it was a signal being transmitted through the planet itself. "This could change everything," Mara whispered, a tremor of both fear and awe in her voice. "If this energy can be harnessed." She trailed off, realizing the truth too late. They had already triggered something vast, something that would not remain hidden. Earth was no longer just a quiet, overlooked planet. It had just announced its presence to the galaxy. Night fell, but the auroras remained, brighter now, stretching across oceans, reflecting off mountain peaks and ice fields. Every radar dish, telescope, and satellite capable of scanning space captured the pulse's trail. Somewhere, intelligent eyes watched and interpreted the signal as weakness, as an invitation. Humans slept unaware, tinkering in garages, labs, and workshops. Yet the world beneath their feet was stirring, and soon, the quiet planet would awaken in ways no one could imagine. Mara looked at the pulsing monitors, and for the first time, felt both terrified and exhilarated. Humanity hadn't just sent a signal, they had announced themselves to the universe. And the universe had answered. The hum deepened, resonating like a heartbeat through the planet. In that moment, Earth itself seemed alive, waiting, watching, and ready. The first warning came not from radar, nor from satellites, but from the sky itself. A shadow so vast it blotted out the sun crept across city streets, forests, and oceans. Birds panicked, scattering into the twilight, while waves along the coasts seemed to pause, as if the earth itself held its breath. People froze, mouths open, staring upward. A low mechanical hum reverberated through the air, deep and unnatural, vibrating through the soles of shoes and rattling the steel bones of skyscrapers. Every window trembled, glass quivering as though in fear, from the vantage of a rooftop in New York. Captain Luis Moreno, commander of a small experimental drone squad, could barely comprehend the sight. Hulls of alien ships stretched higher than clouds, their edges glowing with energy that defied the known spectrum. They hovered silently, menacingly, their shadows casting darkness over entire districts. Their huge muttered his second-in-command, scanning the radar with trembling fingers. Weapons readings are off the charts. There's nothing we can do. Moreno didn't answer. He didn't have to. Humans had prepared for natural disasters, civil unrest, even nuclear threats, but nothing like this. The world had never faced a predator that moved across the sky like a mountain, yet emitted no sound beyond the ominous hum of power. In Washington, emergency broadcasts cut across all networks. This is not a drill. All citizens are advised to seek shelter. Yet most stayed glued to their screens, hearts hammering, eyes fixed on the impossibility above them. Meanwhile, underground labs around the world erupted in activity. Dr. Mara Elridge and her team, still trying to comprehend the pulse they had unwittingly sent, watched in horror as their instruments detected a fleet of unimaginable size. Their sensors picked up heat signatures, shield fields, and propulsion energy, far exceeding Earth's combined capabilities. The aliens were coming and they expected little resistance. But even in terror, something remarkable began to stir. Engineers in Tokyo, New Delhi, and Berlin simultaneously examined the patterns of the alien ship's energy fields. Small teams of scientists and hackers began decoding the pulse's secondary effects. Disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field caused by the ship's presence. The resonance hinted at vulnerabilities, patterns that suggested predictability. Mara's voice was steady, almost eerily calm, as she addressed her team. They underestimate us. They see us as primitive. But if we can understand the patterns, we can respond. We're outmatched, yes, but not outsmarted. Across the globe, human ingenuity ignited in ways the aliens couldn't predict. In underground bunkers, experimental aircraft were retrofitted with energy amplifiers. Engineers rigged city power grids to send bursts of controlled electromagnetic interference. Even ordinary citizens contributed, pilots, coders, and hobbyists combining creativity and courage. Humanity, for the first time in centuries, united, not just out of fear, but with determination and purpose. Above them, the alien fleet began subtle maneuvers. Ships pivoted, engines glowing, shields shimmering like liquid metal. From orbit, they scanned, calculated, and underestimated Earth's potential. They expected chaos, panic, and surrender. Instead, they found coordination, improvisation, and instinctive resilience. On the streets below, shadows lengthened, but a quiet defiance grew. Citizens whispered, "We can't fight them yet, we won't run." It was the first spark of awareness. This species, long dismissed as insignificant, might not be as weak as it appeared. Moreno, standing on his rooftop, clenched his fists. "They think we're easy prey. Let's make them rethink that." The alien hum deepened, echoing like rolling thunder across continents. Humanity trembled, but for the first time, it also began to awaken. The sky had gone dark not with night, but with metal. Thousands of alien ships hovered silently above every major city, their hulls reflecting faint starlight and the shimmer of Earth's atmosphere. From orbit, they looked invincible, sleek, massive, and alien in a way that defied comprehension. Yet below, humanity refused to cower. In a lab beneath the Alps, Dr. Mara Elridge pored over data streaming in from satellites and ground sensors. Patterns emerged in the ship's energy fields, small, almost imperceptible fluctuations in their shields and propulsion. They were predictable. If only someone could decode the rhythm. Mara turned to her team, urgency in her eyes. "They think they've cornered us. They assume we'll panic, surrender, or hide. but they've left a window tiny, yes, but real. If we act quickly, we can exploit it. Half a world away, in New York, Captain Luis Moreno and his drone pilots tested the first series of maneuvers. Their drones, modest compared to alien fighters, darted between shadows cast by the immense ships. They recorded shield pulses, propulsion patterns, even the faintest ripples in the ship's energy readings. Each small victory brought a surge of hope and adrenaline. Outside, the cities themselves became part of the strategy. Streetlights, power grids, and even subway networks were repurposed to create electromagnetic pulses in precise sequences. Ordinary engineers, amateur programmers, and scientists worked around the clock, improvising with creativity the aliens could not predict. Above them, alien commanders monitored the anomalies. "Why aren't they surrendering?" one hissed, its voice translating roughly into human terms via artificial cognition. "They should be weak. They should be easy." "They're calculating," another replied, "and adapting. Their unpredictability. It's remarkable." Humans, for the first time, realized that survival wasn't just about weapons, it was about intelligence, adaptability, and instinct. Drones flickered and darted like fireflies, feeding data back into the global network. Each pulse of information allowed Earth's defenders to anticipate alien movements before they happened. In London, a network of amateur astronomers tracked ship formations, discovering a subtle, repeating vulnerability at the rear of the alien vessels. In Tokyo, engineers rigged power relays to generate a feedback loop capable of amplifying weak points in alien shields. Across continents, humanity began to weave a tapestry of resistance from knowledge, improvisation, and relentless courage. Mara stared at the screens, her mind racing. "We're not fighting them head-on," she said softly. "We're learning, observing, turning their strength against them." The first small strikes began at dusk. Human drones targeted weak points in isolated ships, feeding back data that allowed slightly larger craft to follow. Alien shields flickered unpredictably under precise bursts of energy. Civilians watched from shelters, seeing only flashes in the night sky, but those flashes were a message. Humanity would not yield, and yet, the aliens were dangerous, relentless, calculating. Each countermeasure was met with another, their vast intellect and advanced technology a constant threat. The suspense was unbearable. One mistake could annihilate entire cities, but for every setback, humanity learned, every failed attempt revealed patterns, every narrow escape taught coordination. Slowly, methodically, Earth's defenders realized that fear could be transformed into strategy and strategy into survival. Mara whispered to herself, almost in awe. "They called for surrender, and we are calling the shots instead." Night had fallen, but the world below was alive with electric tension. Alien ships hovered in eerie silence above sprawling cities, their massive shadows crawling over buildings and highways. From the air, Earth looked like a caged jewel, shimmering under the faint glow of human-made lights and the alien hum that had become omnipresent deep beneath the surface of Siberia. Dr. Mara Elridge and her team had discovered something no one expected. The pulse they had unleashed, the one that first drew the alien attention, wasn't just a signal. It was a conduit. Energy from deep within the Earth, from tectonic currents and magnetic flows, could be harnessed. The planet itself was a weapon, waiting to be awakened. Mara's eyes widened as readings spiked. "It's responding," she whispered. "The planet. It's listening. It can fight back." Across the globe, small teams mobilized. In Cairo, engineers converted hydroelectric stations into massive energy relays. In Rio, hackers infiltrated satellite networks, creating artificial gravitational pulses to disorient alien ships. In Los Angeles, pilots trained on retrofitted aircraft fitted with energy amplifiers, ready to launch precision strikes. Every Action fed into the growing human network, a web of resistance the aliens could not anticipate. Captain Luis Moreno led a squadron of drones through New York, weaving through the gargantuan shadows. Their sensors detected fluctuations in alien shields tiny, but enough. Moreno gritted his teeth. This is it. This is the chance. Hit them where they don't expect it. And hit them they did. The first strike wasn't a spectacle of fire and explosions. It was precision. A drone released a calculated electromagnetic pulse directly at the weakest point of a hovering cruiser. For a heartbeat, the ship faltered, lights blinked erratically, shields shimmered, and a mechanical hiss echoed across the city. Humans held their breath. Then, as if reacting to instinct, the planet itself seemed to amplify the attack. Underground currents surged, and faint tremors rippled through the ground. The cruiser shuddered and fell, crashing into the outskirts in a plume of molten metal and smoke. Across the world, other small victories followed. In Tokyo, a converted power grid sent a pulse into the atmosphere, knocking out alien sensors over the Pacific. In London, a coordinated strike disrupted energy flows in another cruiser, sending it spiraling into the Thames. Humanity was no longer hiding. They were fighting back, and the planet itself had joined them. But the aliens were far from defeated. They adjusted formations, shields glowing brighter, engines humming with unprecedented intensity. They underestimated the human spirit and the bond between a species and its home world, but that would soon cost them. Mara stood over a console, sweat beading on her forehead. We're only beginning, she said. The more they push, the stronger Earth responds. Every move they make feeds into the pulse. We've turned their arrogance into a weapon. From orbit, alien commanders stared at the escalating chaos. Their calculated assumptions shattered. How? How are they resisting? One hissed, fingers trembling over holographic displays. They're primitive. They shouldn't. But Earth had awakened across the planet. Humanity felt it. A quiet, instinctive understanding. Their home was alive. Their ingenuity was unmatched, and their courage was boundless. The first sparks of rebellion had ignited, and they were burning brighter than any alien fleet had predicted. The skies were no longer silent. They were alive with light, motion, and defiance. Humanity was no longer prey. They were awakening as warriors, united by the pulse of their own planet. The dawn broke, not with the warmth of sunlight, but with the glare of alien metal and the hum of energy coursing through the skies. Above the cities, the colossal fleet hovered like predators, their shadows stretching for miles, their weapons poised. But below, humanity was no longer waiting, they were striking. Captain Luis Moreno gripped the controls of his retrofitted fighter, heart hammering. Around him, drones darted like swarming bees, each one carrying micropulses designed to weaken the alien shields. Moreno's voice crackled through the comms. This is it, team. Stay sharp, follow the pulse, and remember Earth has our back. From the lab beneath the Alps, Dr. Mara Elridge monitored the energy streams. Now, she commanded. Her fingers danced over consoles, directing concentrated pulses from the planet's core into the magnetic grid. Tremors ran through the cities, subtle but powerful enough to destabilize alien vessels. The first clash was sudden. A cruiser, massive beyond imagination, shuddered violently as the combined effect of human technology and Earth's energy struck it. Panels flickered, shields faltered, and a low, metallic groan reverberated through the streets. Citizens, peeking from shelters, saw the alien ship stagger and fall, crashing into the outskirts with a deafening explosion that sent a plume of smoke high into the sky. Moreno's squadron pressed the advantage. Drones zipped through the gaps in enemy formations, releasing pulses that disoriented sensors and disabled weapon systems. Human pilots, small but agile, weaved through alien fire, striking with pinpoint precision. Every movement was calculated, adaptive, Instinctive, the culmination of a planet and its inhabitants fighting as one. Yet the aliens were formidable. Shields flared to full strength, beams of energy sliced through the sky, and dozens of human drones were shredded in seconds. Moreno barely avoided a concentrated blast that would have vaporized him. "They're learning fast," he muttered, his jaw tight. "But so are we." In Tokyo, underground engineers synchronized a massive pulse. The city's energy grid surged, sending a magnetic wave toward the alien fleet. Lights flickered across the metropolis, buildings quivering as the wave amplified. One by one, alien cruisers faltered, struggling to maintain stability. Humanity had turned the planet into a weapon, and the aliens had no choice but to react. But the humans' greatest advantage was not technology alone, it was unpredictability. Amateur pilots improvised maneuvers that defied conventional logic. Scientists in makeshift labs redirected energy flows mid-strike. Civilians used drones to relay visual data, creating patterns no alien algorithm could anticipate. Every strike, every pulse, every clever maneuver reinforced a truth the aliens had ignored. Humans were not mere prey. Amid the chaos, Moreno's squadron found themselves circling a crippled cruiser. Its engines sputtered, shields fractured, and the hull was scorched from Earth's pulses. Moreno clenched his fists. "We've done it. We're breaking them." But the aliens weren't finished. A deep hum rolled across the skies, their fleet, adjusting, coordinating, and countering with precision that sent shockwaves of tension through human forces. For every victory, there was a warning. The war had only just begun. And yet, even in the face of near-certain destruction, humanity had discovered something extraordinary: courage fueled by purpose, unity forged under fire, and the awakening of a planet willing to fight alongside its children. The first clash had ended, but it had revealed a simple, undeniable truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. The sky burned with electric fury. Alien cruisers, their massive hulls scarred from repeated strikes, hung precariously above human cities. Smoke and energy arcs traced jagged lines across the atmosphere, a chaotic battlefield painted with fire and light. Humanity had struck first, but the aliens were not beaten. From a high-tech command center in New Delhi, Dr. Mara Elridge studied the incoming data. "They're regrouping," she said, tension tightening her voice. "They've started to coordinate their counterattacks. If we don't adapt, we'll lose everything we've gained." Captain Luis Moreno's squadron roared through the sky over Berlin, evading energy blasts that could vaporize a skyscraper. Every move was measured, every maneuver calculated in seconds. "Keep the pulse synchronized," he barked into the coms. "Remember, we're not just attacking, we're predicting their reactions." Humanity had learned to fight not only with weapons, but with the planet itself. Underground, massive energy conduits funneled the Earth's magnetic currents into a network of amplifiers, creating electromagnetic fields that destabilized alien ships. Drones darted like swarming lightning, each strike precise, each retreat instantaneous. The first cracks appeared in the alien fleet. A cruiser over Paris wobbled, its shields flickering as it struggled to maintain altitude. Below, Parisians peered from cover, eyes wide, hearts pounding not in fear, but in disbelief. Humanity had struck, and the seemingly invincible invaders were faltering. But the aliens responded with ruthless precision. One by one, they adapted, reconfiguring shield frequencies and redirecting energy to stabilize their damaged ships. Explosions of light and sound lit the sky as entire city blocks shook from the shockwaves. Moreno narrowly avoided a concentrated blast that tore a canyon through the streets. "They're learning faster than we expected," he yelled. Yet, amidst the chaos, humanity found new ways to turn adversity into opportunity. Engineers in Buenos Aires rigged subway tunnels to emit synchronized pulses, creating localized magnetic storms that sent enemy fighters spinning out of control. Hackers in Toronto infiltrated alien communication networks, feeding false coordinates that lured cruisers into traps. The planet itself had become a participant in the battle, its tectonic and magnetic energies acting as both shield and weapon. From orbit, alien commanders hissed in frustration. "Why do they keep surviving?" one demanded, voice tight with disbelief. "Their primitive tactics? They shouldn't work. They are unpredictable," another replied, scanning the feeds. "And their unity? It's astonishing. Every attempt to isolate them fails." Morale surged among human forces. Every victory, every narrowly avoided strike, every successful countermeasure reinforced a singular truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were audacious, adaptive, and fueled by the indomitable will to survive. Yet the suspense remained. The aliens were far from defeated. Marino's squadron circled a crippled cruiser over New York, engines roaring. Its shields were down, its hull cracked, but its weapons still hummed with deadly potential. One misstep, one moment of hesitation, and the skies could become a tomb. Morale and tension collided as Mara whispered into her comms. "The rising tide is on our side, but every wave can drown us if we falter. Stay sharp, trust in the planet, trust in each other." The battle raged, a symphony of chaos, courage, and ingenuity. Humanity had turned the tables, but the war was far from over. The rising tide of resistance had begun, and the galaxy had just realized it had awakened a force that would not back down. A deep hum echoed across the horizon, vibrating through the steel and concrete skeletons of cities and into the hearts of those who dared to fight. Humanity's pulsing, invisible, unstoppable current was rising, converging on a single, audacious plan. The alien fleet, though battered, still loomed like a metallic storm over Earth's skyline. Every city, every forest, every mountain had become a battlefield. But now, humanity would strike at the heart. Captain Luis Marino's squadron darted through clouds thick with electromagnetic interference, their sensors flickering under pressure. "Listen up," he barked, voice steady, despite the chaos. "The Central Command cruiser, it's their brain. Take it down, and the fleet collapses. Earth's pulse is ready to amplify our strike. This is the moment we've been waiting for." Below, Dr. Mara Elridge and her team orchestrated the most complex synchronization humanity had ever attempted. Massive energy conduits channeled the planet's magnetic currents, pulsing in harmony with every human strike. Tremors rolled beneath the surface, subtle but relentless, feeding the operation with the raw, untamed force of Earth itself. Marino's squadron arrived above the target, a cruiser larger than anything humanity had seen, its hull shimmering like liquid metal, engines glowing with ominous power. Alien sensors scanned, searching, failing to anticipate the audacity of what was coming. Marino's fingers tightened on the controls, every heartbeat synchronized with Earth's rhythm. Now, Mara's voice cut through comes like a blade. The attack commenced. Drones surged toward the cruiser, releasing precision pulses that destabilized shields. Pilots weaved through streams of energy, exploiting weaknesses no alien algorithm could anticipate. And beneath them, the planet responded. Magnetic currents surged upward, grounding energy bolts into the hull. The cruiser shook violently, systems flickering, warning lights cascading in an alien symphony of panic. Inside the ship, alien commanders screamed at incomprehensible screens. What is happening? Their attacks are shields. They shouldn't, but they underestimated the bond between humanity and its home. Every pulse, every maneuver, every strike was amplified by the living planet beneath them. Marino's squadron circled in perfect harmony, guiding the energy currents with breathtaking precision. The cruiser convulsed, sparks flying as its engines faltered. In a final, breathtaking move, a synchronized strike hit the cruiser's core. Marino held his breath as the hull cracked, glowing veins of energy pulsing outward. The cruiser exploded, in a cathedral of fire and light, fragments spiraling into the atmosphere. The shockwave rolled across the battlefield, toppling smaller cruisers, sending waves of disarray through the alien fleet. Across Earth, humans cheered in disbelief and triumph. Every strike, every pulse, every ounce of ingenuity had culminated in this turning point. The aliens, formidable and terrifying, had been shown their first true defeat at the hands of a species they had underestimated. Moreno exhaled, chest heaving, eyes scanning the horizon. "We did it," he whispered, voice trembling with awe. "Earth did it. We're not just survivors, we're warriors." Mara's fingers hovered over the final control panels. "And the tide has only begun. Every move we make now is amplified by Earth itself. They can't recover from this. Not from us, never from us." For the first time in the battle, humanity felt unstoppable. The alien fleet wavered, their formations breaking, their command shaken. And in that fleeting moment, it was clear. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, underestimated humans, underestimated the bond between a species and its planet. The skies above Earth burned with the remnants of battle streaks of fire, arcs of energy, and smoke twisting like ghosts across the horizon. Silence fell in the wake of chaos, a tense, fragile pause as humanity and the alien fleet assessed. The new reality. The once unstoppable invaders were fractured, their command shattered, their pride broken. Captain Luis Moreno hovered above a ruined metropolis, his fighter trembling slightly under the residual tremors of Earth's pulse. Around him, other pilots circled the skies, their eyes wide, adrenaline still roaring. It's over," he whispered, though his gut told him the danger might only be pause below. In a subterranean command hub, Dr. Mara Elridge monitored the last of the alien energy fields. The consoles flickered as the final cruisers faltered, disoriented and directionless. "We've broken them," she murmured, voice steady but tinged with awe. Earth's pulse, humanity's unity. It was more than they expected, and it had been more than anyone had expected. Humanity had discovered its true strength not in weapons alone, not in technology alone, but in courage, adaptability, and the connection to the planet that had nurtured them for millennia. Cities, forests, oceans, Earth itself had joined the battle, turning the tides of war with invisible, unstoppable force. From orbit, alien commanders convened a final, desperate meeting. Their logic-driven minds struggled to comprehend a species capable of such audacity. "They fight with their world," one whispered, disbelief cracking its tone. "They are something else entirely." On the surface, humanity seized its moment. Moreno led his squadron in a precise symbolic maneuver, flying over every major city, creating a path of light, of victory, of hope. Civilians poured into streets, cheering, embracing, their voices carrying a defiant message to the cosmos. Earth was awake, and its children would not be subdued. Dr. Mara Elridge activated the planetary pulse one final time, not as a weapon, but as a beacon. Waves of magnetic resonance swept across the globe, restoring stability to damaged cities, and silently warning any remaining invaders. Humanity had risen, not merely to fight, but to claim its place among the stars as a force to be reckoned with. In the aftermath, Moreno stood atop the ruins of a shattered tower, eyes on the horizon. "We didn't just survive," he said softly, almost to himself. "We proved we are something greater, something they can never ignore." Everywhere, humans rebuilt, but the victory left a mark deeper than concrete and steel. The memory of united courage, the thrill of rising against impossible odds, and the awakening of a species that refused to bow. These became legends, stories passed from one generation to the next. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it meant to fight for survival with ingenuity, audacity, and unbreakable spirit. Even in the quiet moments, Earth itself seemed to hum a subtle reminder that the planet and its people were one. The aliens who remained, scattered and defeated, would carry the memory of that hum across the stars, a warning that no species, no matter how advanced, should underestimate humans.